We want our lives to have meaning and purpose. We want our relationships and work to be fulfilling. We want some happiness in the mix. And we know that we can't wait for someone else to make that happen. We've got to do it for ourselves. Best of all, neuroscience tells us that our brains are up to the task. Plastic and malleable, hungry for the right challenge, our brain is capable of creativity, new knowledge acquisition, and growth, even as we age. This much we own and can control. It's our evolutionary inheritance, nature's playbook. We can choose to activate the neural networks that shake our brain awake, flip the switch to enliven our senses, and stimulate our thought processes beyond what we may have imagined possible. Where to start? How do we filter out the noise and distraction, overcome inertia and other obstacles to design the lives we want? How can we regain some control and switch on our innate abilities to focus on what matters most, while still living amid the cacophony of modern life? The best people to teach us how to cope may be the very people who've struggled the most with attention and learning challenges. Many have refined the skills necessary to thrive in a world filled with constant stimulation, distraction, and stress. How do I know this? Because I'm one of them. My journey to lit. As a professor at Harvard Medical School and MIT, I am very lucky. I get to learn from and collaborate with some of the most innovative minds in the world of medicine, science, and technology. But I was not supposed to be here. No one would have predicted this for me. When I was a kid in elementary school in rural Canada, I had the attention span of a fruit fly, and I struggled to keep up. Reading, writing, classroom discussion, and teacher's instruction, I couldn't make sense of any of it. It wasn't just that I was distractible and my brain didn't process things in a conventional way. My mind felt completely open to just existing in the world, in a constant mind meld with the universe. For me, it felt weird to isolate and define things, to pin down ideas and limit learning to what seemed to me to be fragments of information. If new knowledge was constantly making old ideas obsolete, to me it made more sense to assume that everything is in a constant state of change. Not only the world around us, but our understanding of it. To my mind, school felt more like a museum than a workshop. It took a ton of effort for me to narrow my focus so stuff could enter, stick, and stay. And I was an anxious kid. I couldn't relax and just be myself, feel okay as the quirky kid, because I felt like something worse than that, an alien, a human anomaly. I realized early on that there were many things I was supposed to do, but none of them came naturally or seemed logical. More troubling still was that much of it didn't feel like the right thing to do. It felt actively wrong. When a teacher asked me a question, whether on a test or in class, I typically found the question confusing, often unanswerable. The right answer seemed like just one of many possibilities. This plagues me to this day and makes me less than helpful to my kids with their homework. So most of my school years were an exercise in trying to figure out, interpret, and fit others' expectations. As a kindergartner, each day I walked up the steps of the older brick building, past the principal's office, down the hall, and into my classroom. There was the typical large square carpeted area for story time, as well as lots of books and interactive toys. Like most young children, I was curious and filled with energy. I could not sit still. Everything excited me. I wanted to explore, roam, see, and touch. It was impossible for me to sit in a chair for hours and listen. Pretend your bottom is glued to your chair, my kindergarten teacher encouraged. Okay, I thought, I can do that. I wrapped my fingers around the bottom of my seat, held it against my rear, stood, and waddled around the room as my classmates giggled. The teacher sent me to the principal's office. I got to know the principal pretty well that year. By second grade, it seemed as if my classmates possessed a superpower that allowed them to decipher the strange letters on the pages of books. But my mind couldn't make sense of them, and I didn't understand how the other students were sounding those letters out and using them to form words. My mother tried phonics, flashcards, everything. But as the school year came to a close, my teacher recommended that I repeat the grade. Desperate to help me, my mother enrolled me in a summer school for children with learning disabilities. There I